Well, this weekend marks the unofficial kickoff to summer, and no summer cookout is complete without firing up the grill.
And plant-based meat company Impossible Foods is hoping that more Americans replace their traditional hamburgers, hot dogs, sausages, chicken with its plant-based alternatives. And here to tell us about that is Peter McGinnis. He's the president and CEO of Impossible Foods. Good to see you, sir. So we're entering one of the biggest grilling weekends of the year. Why should people like me, who have a bit of a stigma, I'm going to admit, switch out my burger for plant-based?
Yeah, hey Kristen, hey Dave. Happy early Memorial Day. Look, you're like a lot of people in America, right? There are a lot of misconceptions. There are a lot of myths around plant-based foods. In the end of the day, it's plant-based meat. We make burgers, we make hot dogs. We just launched a hot dog, which is a hamburger's best friend. So now you can have a hot dog and a hamburger this Memorial Day on the grill. You should have it because A, it tastes delicious, and B, it's nutritious. We're talking equal to, if not more protein. We're talking, more fiber, half the saturated fat, and zero cholesterol. And it's made from a plant. It's made from soy, so it's grown in the ground. It's grown in America, made in America. And there's all sorts of stuff. Is it from China? Is it from a lab? Is it anti-patriotic? It's grown in Illinois, it's made in Chicago, LA, and Oakland, and it's from a plant that's grown in the ground. And it tastes delicious. And have it your way. Put cheese on it, put special sauce on it. In the end of the day, we're not a vegan company. And so there are a lot of reasons, I think, of course, I'm biased as to why you should give it a shot. And look, every 2 people that try, 1 and 2 repeat because it's better than they thought, and it's actually quite delicious and nutritious.
So I've tried Impossible, and I must say it is good. You mentioned the nutrition element as well, Peter. How does that stack up? Give us the details on that in terms of what people are putting into their bodies if they decide to opt for this versus traditional meat.
Yeah, let's just look at a hot dog. We just launched it, right? We are talking, 7 grams of fiber to basically 0. We're talking 2.5 times the protein of an animal hot dog. And we're talking over 50% less saturated fat, and we're talking 0 cholesterol. So look, no matter if you're a Republican or a Democrat, you live in the middle of the country on the coast, whether you're young or old, in the end of the day, cholesterol is not a good thing. And here's another thing, I think, and it's really important, a lot of the reasons why there's this tug of war between plant-based and animal, I think the category was launched in a highly politicized way and partisan way. And it was based on climate, and it was based on, inside the Beltway facts, and there are a lot of opinions and rhetoric and zealous. And I think, in the end, we just want meat eaters to try our products. We think they stand up. We think they're delicious. And we would just encourage people to incorporate that into their diet. It's not a hard shift. And flexitarians, in the end of the day, are our target audience. People that kind of flex in and out. And you see that with plant-based milk. A lot of people drink dairy milk, and sometimes they drink oat milk. And in the end of the day, and we want to invite people and meat eaters to try it, and we don't want to insult meat eaters. And so we also have to change our messaging and how we package and position this. We're making nutritious and delicious food. It's now pretty much available everywhere, and we'd love you to give it a try.
Got to tell you, I did not expect the words Republican or Democrat to come up in a segment based on burgers. I'm sensing that you feel like Impossible and the category has been painted with a woke liberal brush, and how do you reverse that?
Yeah, I think by not insulting meat eaters. We're not against anyone. We're for things, putting better food options out and letting the consumer choose, right? I think the category was launched on, and we're the anti-cattle industry, slaughter cartel, all of this rhetoric, and it didn't do us any favors. In the end of the day, plant-based is, a few $1 billion in the U.S., and, the global, chicken, beef, pork, animal market's $1.4 trillion. So this only works if we take a piece out of plant animal. In the end of the day, I would take 10% of 1.4 trillion. It would be quite a large business. So, how you package, how you position, how you communicate, how you message is really, really important. And I think, I think we screwed it up. And I think, the category didn't do itself any favors in terms of how it was launched. And I do think it's reversible, right? I mean, we're at Walmart and Kroger. We just got into Whole Foods. I don't know what your local is. We're ShopRite and Stop and Shop and you name it. So now we're kind of ubiquitously distributed. And oh, by the way, we're in great food service locations: Burger King, all Burger Kings, all Starbucks, Applebee's, IHOP. So now, Bear Burger there in the city. So lots and lots of places. So it's easier to access our food. In the end of the day, I want to make it more accessible. And I want to make it more available. And so one is distribution, one is messaging.
So let's talk more about that messaging, Peter. I know you've been talking about the consumer that you're aiming to target here, recently launching a brand new ad campaign aimed at meat eaters at the Met Gala. Let's take a look.
Listen up, America. Meat has problems, and it's gonna take us, meat eaters, to solve them. So when the world says too much meat is bad and we should eat less of it, we say no, world. We should eat more. Because now we can turn plants into burgers and hot dogs. Even meatballs. Now, plants can be meat.
How has that ad resonated so far?
Yeah, so far so good. I mean, we're a couple of weeks in. It's hard to measure hard to measure advertising effectiveness in general. It's been one of those things that have eluded most companies and most, CMOs and CEOs. But we're 2 weeks into a campaign. What I can say is the early buzz has been great, and we're having a little fun here. This is humorous. It's not overly serious. It does celebrate the food. That's an Impossible Burger. Look at how juicy that is. So I encourage you to put that on the grill this Memorial Day. But so far, so good. And this is going to be our largest campaign. It will be plant-based's largest campaign ever. So we're investing in the brand. We're investing in the business to build that awareness. In the end of the day, we have less than 20% awareness. So close to 81% of the entire country hasn't even heard of Impossible. So paid, earned, owned advertising is a way to increase that awareness, which will increase trial, right? And then once I get people to try it, they actually like it. So, our opportunities are very, A, they're in front of us, and B, they're not hard to seize and take advantage of. It's building distribution, building awareness. Companies do that. They've been doing it for decades and decades and decades.
Peter, we're running out of time, and I will try it. I will give it a shot on Monday if we do grill. I promise you that. I'll send you a little message. I'm curious, what's the Ozempic factor here? Because it seems to be impacting just about everyone in the entire food industry.
We haven't seen any impact because the other thing I didn't mention is we have less calories. So our food has less fat, less calories. So maybe we're Ozempic qualified already. I don't know. But we haven't seen any impact on it to date.
Do you foresee it impacting your company in the future?
No, I think it would impact other foods before it would impact our food. Like I said, if we're lower calorie, lower fat to begin with, I think we'd be the least and the last to be affected.
And last quick question, is an IPO even in the 5-year look? I mean, we saw Beyond do that, and they are down more than 90% since that IPO.
Yeah, I think, look, I don't want to comment on Beyond's IPO. It's within 5 years. We're lucky enough to be well capitalized. We don't need to go now. And I think the lesson here is you go when you're ready. And you go when the market's favorable, but you go when your company's ready. And that means top line, that means bottom line, that means balance sheet, so that the IPO is celebrated and that you build, shareholder and stockholder value over time in a healthy, growth-oriented way. So we'll do it when we're ready, and I would say sure, within 5 years.
All right, we'll have you back soon. President and CEO of Impossible Foods, Peter McGinnis. Good to see you, sir. Thank you.